Going to be talking all things finance. Does God want you to prosper? How do you align your faith with your finances? And how can you steward the resources that God has given you to truly build a lasting legacy? Hi everyone, welcome to It Ends With Me, a transformation and faith podcast where we talk everything healing, faith, and legacy. And today's episode is very, very special because what is legacy without money? What is legacy without finance? I have my friend, my sister with me today, and we're going to be talking all things finance. Does God want you to prosper? How do you align your faith with your finances? And how can you steward the resources that God has given you to truly build a lasting legacy? And I have a chartered accountant with me, a fellow sister in Christ, and also just someone who has personally helped me in my finance journey, especially since moving to the UK. So if you're someone who is trying to navigate your finances, you're trying to align your faith and your finances together, then this episode is for you. Enjoy, sit back, and enjoy this. So,
you flatter me.
Welcome to my guest, Nancy. I'm going to allow you to introduce yourself in the True It Ends With Me way. And here we're just going to have a vulnerable, authentic conversation. I feel like when the cameras are there, it's also we just need to listen up, listen up.
Let it go.
We just have this like we always have our regular conversations and hope that lives will be blessed by it.
Yeah, definitely.
Welcome.
Yeah. Well, thank you for me, and thank you for like that flattering like introduction. So brief introduction about myself. So I am Nancy and I work as a financial controller. Recently completed my ICAEW exams. So yeah, there goes like the chartered accountancy.
Chartered accountant. It's not easy. It's not easy.
So 3 years coming. But before then though, like I do have interest in finance as an individual, like generally. So that is why even before kind of going to study like the chartered accountancy exam, I wanted to find out, okay, how do I make sure I'm investing right and like saving the right way? So that is what we'll talk about anyways. Like I don't want to jump the gun, but yes, Tofumi is like a good friend of mine and we actually got to know each other via like finance. So yeah, that is a brief introduction.
Super excited to have you here. So I feel like it's such a privilege to have this conversation because these are conversations we've had personally.
True.
We hop on calls, hour-long calls when I don't know how to, all my finance spreadsheets and just, Tofumi, have you done your pension? Have you done your salary sacrifice? Tofumi, it's time to put file your tax assessment.
Self-assessment.
Like she's always calling me and she's like, it's end of the year. You need to do your tax returns. I'm like, oh God, thank you. But at the same time,
no, like even with the idea of like, you're paying tithe. I'm sure you're like a high like earner, if that makes sense. Not, I think it's above like 12,570 plus that's 7,700.
You see?
If you're like above that, then if you're paying like tax, like you can expand that band to which you're paying like 20%. So it's that idea that we bring in the self-assessment because you're employed. So your employer doesn't know like you're paying tithe or you're donating somewhere. So yeah, that is one aspect. I think that was what I was like reminding you of,
which is good. Like to have someone to just do that. And to be honest, I think money, and we'll get there, but money is sort of a taboo conversation, especially as Africans, but even more when we moved to the UK. Yeah. Right?
True.
I consciously had to sort of drop that and just be like, you know what? I don't know how finance works in this country. Who knows it?
That is true.
And who can I reach out to help me?
That is true. Yeah.
I moved here and I was placed on the wrong tax bracket for my first few months. So I was literally paying over 60% tax for the first 3 months. And I didn't know what that meant. I needed to speak to, and I think you were one of the people I reached out to say, what's going on?
Like you're paying a lot of tax.
Yeah, I'm paying a lot of tax, and they gave me the wrong tax code. They gave me an emergency tax code.
Yeah.
And how to even just get that money back. So that's one of the reasons we're having these conversations today.
Exactly.
Right? Because we don't want it is a pattern to have those money conversations as a taboo and not want to voice out how much you earn or how you're spending money or when you're in debt. So I really don't want you guys to take this as just another conversation, but as something that you're truly going to become better at. And I'm so excited to have someone who is passionate about it. And yeah, so we're just going to start off in usual fashion with some icebreakers. Right?
Let's have it.
Some icebreaker questions, and we'll just start off. Let's start off with the this or that ones, and then we'll go into so splurge on travel or fashion.
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 Because I'm not traveling a lot.
You're not traveling a lot.
I've been doing exams.
True.
Yeah.
True. So do you think that will change in future?
Ask me next year.
Next year.
Yeah.
Okay. Wahala hold it right. I can't.
Oh my days.
Invest in risky ventures, so stocks, startups, crypto, or keep money safe but stagnant.
No, risky venture.
Risky.
You went the extreme. Like risky
Extreme.
Yeah. If there was middle ground, yeah.
And there can be. You can let us know if you want.
I would rather like I would take a mixture of static and like risky and moderate risk. So it's more like diversifying my portfolio, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be investing for a house and put it in a risky venture. No, like I need maybe the ISA by the government, for example. I can take that. I'm getting like 1,000K every year, so that is not as risky. It's not even risky at all. So like
that's the one they give you £1,000 for every 4,000
that you invest in a year. So that is like not risky. So that would have been the lower aspect of that threshold that you gave me. So mixture of everything.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you said I went the extreme, and I went the extreme on purpose. Because I think that's the extreme a lot of people fall into. They're either overly risky, even if it's not stocks and startups. Some people put it in all these crypto, or even all these money making schemes. MMMs, right? And those are risky ventures that say, oh, put this in. But then there are also people who are just like, let me just put my money in the bank.
Yeah,
right? It's not making
but
any.
There's inflation.
Exactly.
Like interest rate is going up, and the bank is not, even if they're giving you interest on a regular like savings account, it's really low and it's not beating the market inflation rate. If you look at what the inflation rate is and what the interest rate is, it doesn't match. If that makes sense. So you want to make sure that your money is growing. What your money can buy you now with £1,000 would not buy you the same thing in the future, because like inflation comes into play, and inflation is a general increase in the price of goods and services. So what, for example, use the naira, like what 10 naira could buy you like
before
few years ago, even sweets. You can't, 10 naira is not even a currency anymore, because there's nothing you can buy with it. So that is one thing you should take into consideration when you're looking at, okay, how much can my money get me, and what should I invest in to make sure that it can get me that in the future. But
I love that. The next one would be taking a higher paying job with less time for ministry, or taking a lower paying job that gives you space to serve.
Why do you have such extremes for everything? My money is used for ministry, darling.
I love that.
So it's more, okay, am I the only one? There's a lot of factors to take into consideration, but I'm not going either extreme, if that makes sense.
You know it's on purpose, right?
Yeah, I know it's on purpose. I'm not going either extreme. You know, if this is the extreme, I'll move it a bit like this and say, give me something in the middle. I want to use my resources for the kingdom. I want to have time for my family, and at the same time, I want to have time for ministry. So it's what that factor, what the scenario you painted was more career and ministry, but then there's a lot more things going on. There's family in between everything. So I want it to be like moderate enough that I want to be able to have time for my family, and at the same time I want to be able to use the resources for ministry, and I want to be a ministry myself, if that makes sense. So it's not on either extreme. I want it to be like moderate.
I think that is such an interesting balance to bring, and a much needed balance to bring, especially if you're a young person who feels it has to be either or. So these questions are on purpose because these are questions that people have. You see people who say, oh, you know what, I'm going to be a kingdom financier, and that's all they want to do, and not actively serve. There's nothing wrong with being a kingdom financier. We should all be kingdom financiers, but we can also serve God with every other thing aside from our money. So there needs to be a balance with this, taking a job versus actually serving. And I love that you brought that balance. So now let's go into some more personal questions. What's your guilty spending pleasure?
My guilty spending pleasure. This is gonna be really bad, but
say it. That's why you're here.
Supplements.
What? Oh, like fitness.
It's so crazy. I was looking at like
examples.
I was thinking
maybe
about
not brand names, but examples.
Like creatine, ABE, BCAA,
just
or
like
one of
gym
those.
babe.
No. It's like pre-workout, post-workout, supplement, amino acid, vitamin D. It's so weird. They're actually expensive. I did not know.
Because you're spending money on them. Just see a babe that takes her gym life. Nancy is in the gym 25% of her life.
Her life.
Maybe like here for a good time and a long time. I love it.
Exactly. It's for kingdom and for like purpose, because I need to be serving God even in my old age. I need to be like moving around, be able to carry my kids, and like that's grandma, and grandma is looking scrumptious because I don't want to be like, oh yeah, this or that. So I would say the reason why I said that was because I was looking at the amount I kept to like for the month, and I was like, wait, where's this money going into? And then it turns out that I was just like, oh yeah, buy creatine, buy this, buy that and then I was watching a podcast, and the podcast was talking about the importance of vitamin D, especially for Black people, and the fact that we don't get enough sunlight in the morning, and it does affect fatigue, and it does affect your health. So I was
especially in the UK,
especially in the UK,
not a lot of sun.
Exactly. And there's a reason why God put us in Africa, like because you needed that sun to maintain like your skin, everything. So I was like, okay, let me go and get a supplement on vitamin D, and then I got there and I was like, oh yeah, I need amino acid because it's important for the brain function. And then I realized I also needed mushroom. Mushroom is important for retention, especially with the work that we do. So I got mushroom.
I didn't know that. That's good.
Mushroom is important, like it's really good. And I do have a colleague that actually does, instead of taking coffee, it takes mushroom. Like it helps with attention, and it's more natural than like taking coffee. So mushroom, and then I got normal multivitamins, especially like I don't think I'm getting enough nutrients from what I eat. Like sometimes I might not eat a lot, sometimes I might eat a lot. It does vary, and what I'm eating is also important. So because of that, I had to kind of spend on that. But it's not splurge every time. It's like you buy it once, and for the next, there are like multiple servings until the next run, if that makes sense.
I really like that. I think it's so important to spend your money on your health. Right. So we might have called it a guilty spending pleasure, but there is a greater good for it. Your future self is going to be thankful
exactly
for it. So it's more like an investment. Yes, it's expensive now, right? There are drugs and supplements that I also buy, and I'm just like, you know what? It's expensive, it's choking me now. But your future self, 10 years, 20 years down the line will be grateful, especially when you're still in your 20s, right? You still have the opportunity to sort of build it. So it's more like an investment in the future. To be honest, I think my own, whenever I think about it, is hair. I'm like, I can buy it now and know that I wouldn't need to in the next 5 years. It's going to serve me. Like there's hair that I've bought that I've been like, okay, you know what? I braid my hair twice in a year max. I don't like sitting down to do hair, so I invest in hair, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to, if I want to do a sew-in, I can go and dye it, I can curl it. You can
reuse it. It's like good quality hair,
and things like that. So that's good.
Yeah,
that's not my only guilty pleasure, please though. Please.
No, like it has to be something out of the ordinary.
Yeah, out of the ordinary. And then the last question on here is if you could redo your first paycheck.
Yeah.
Firstly, tell us how much it was. Yeah. Right? And one thing you do differently.
My first paycheck was at placement.
Placement year.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, placement year is 1 year.
1 year in your, so you go to uni for 2 years, and then as part of your degree, you have 1 year that you work in industry, and then you come back for your final year. Yeah. So that is a year in industry, placement year.
Got it.
So yeah, it was my placement year paycheck, and
tell us.
There was 1K bonus for sign-on, like as a placement student, and then in total, what I got was like 3K for the month.
For the month,
yeah. But that is. That was because of the bonus.
Yeah, because of the bonus.
Yeah, exactly. So it was part of the bonus, and yeah, I guess it's not breaching anything because that's not my pay. So yeah, that is my first
that's
paycheck.
not your pay now. Yeah. So this was years ago, please.
That was like placement year. Yeah, and obviously government had to come in and come and like give.
So that wasn't what you got.
I got
what did
like
you get at the end of the day?
2,000 and something.
Okay, after tax.
Yeah, after tax. Okay. But then like I got back tax return because I filed my taxes. Okay. And I didn't work for like a year in that financial accounting year. So the April to April tax year that we have in the UK. So yeah, just a caveat. So for anyone that is like, let's say you came into the UK, let's say around December period, and then you started working from December, the government will tax you based on your first paycheck as though you're working, you've been earning that amount for the entire year. So from April last year to April, April this year, if we're in December, to April next year. So in that case, you wait until April next year. So now you've only worked for 4 to 5 months, but you've been taxed as though you worked for a year. So you go back to, like, sometimes they adjust it themselves. If they don't, then you can go and like do your tax returns and then claim back like the money that you've overpaid, or the government could adjust your tax code and give you back the money via lower tax in the future. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That was why you were taxed.
That was why I got
like that huge amount of money. It's because they were trying to tax you. It was an emergency tax, trying to tax you for the entire year, because they assume, there's only a limit. It's an estimate that the government is doing. So even for example, when we get paid bonus, you realize that suddenly your tax in the future goes up.
It's higher.
At the end of the tax year, they would adjust it.
I see.
Yeah. During that year, even if you call them, they might not do anything. They'll tell you to wait until the end of the tax year because they're not sure. Maybe something might come in. You might have a lot of money that will come in during that period that they will then tax. Then after the April to April period is over, they know for sure that this is all the money that you've got.
I see.
So they would either you go to them and then they'll give you back the money, or they would adjust your tax code in the future and you pay less tax in the future. Yeah.
You know, one thing I really love was when I came for my internship in the summer. So I earned for maybe about 3 months, 10 weeks that the internship was.
Yeah.
And they taxed me a certain amount. And then when I came back full time, right?
Yeah.
They actually gave me my tax back.
They'll give you your tax
for the
back.
summer, because apparently
Exactly.
I wasn't resident
You're not-
here and I didn't
exactly.
spend up to 3 months. When they gave me back that money, I was happy. I was like, wow.
Yeah,
some
I think like they
countries
were
could never.
trying to find a way to give it back to you, but maybe like you were not working.
Yeah.
Then
and I
you've
wasn't
not
in
gone
the country.
online to you've not gone online to claim anything, so it's just sitting in there.
Yeah.
If you had logged into your personal gateway, which is the account I told you to create,
Yeah, that has been stressing me. Don't worry, we'll get there.
if you had logged in, you would have seen, like, I go to check to see, okay, what is the estimate? What is the salary they estimated for that year?
For that year.
What is my actual salary? Like, the company would have given them the update, but did they get it right? We're all human. And then what is like my gift aid? Have I accounted for that in there? But yeah, we'll get to those.
That makes sense. Interesting.
But don't worry, your money was sitting in there.
Yeah, because
They
I
just did
called
not
them
know
for
a way.
something. It was when I called them for the emergency thing that they were like, "Oh, we're owing you tax. Do you want us to?" And I was like,
Yeah, they'll tell you, do you want us to give it back to you?
Back to you.
Or like, do you
just
want an
add it
adjustment
to this thing?
in
And
your
they
future?
sent it to me via check.
Yeah.
It was over £1,000.
Mine was like, you can put your back code like in the file, and when you want them to give it back to you, they'll just transfer it to your account.
To me, yeah, I think at that time I had just moved, so I was still
so
in the
you were
process
still
of
finding-
getting. I didn't have like an actual bank account then. It was good to
Yeah,
see
it was
actually.
good.
Like I just called
imagine
and they're
placement,
like,
like at the end you're like, wow, this
I
is
got like
interesting.
£1,050 back.
Exactly.
And I was
do
like,
you know how much that was like to set up everything? I used this to set up my home office. I was like, yeah.
So what would you do differently?
So what I would have done differently, like in terms of how much,
How you spent it,
How
how
I
you
spent.
utilized it. What's the first thing you'd have done differently?
nothing actually, because I used it to set up my work home office.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I used. I was saying it to my colleague. I was like, oh yeah, the money that they give me, I used it to buy a desktop that was a replication of what I have in the office.
And at that time,
it was like
such a
that.
yeah,
It was like
large
that
one.
large one. So yeah, I was telling my colleague, and he was like, why would you do that?
But that's so smart, because have you seen the price of it now?
Nah, it's because I use that, like I still have it till now.
Yeah.
Then like set up different things. At the end, I think I had like a little remaining, and I don't know how I spent it, but what I needed to do, I did it first, which is the way I would normally spend in general. Then the residual, I can then use it for like whatever it is I need to do. So yeah, we'll get to that. I saw it
love that.
in the question. But yeah.
I really, really love that. And I think some of the first things that I'll just want to identify is, I think that people identify with stories. So I'm going to start off with like maybe a personal story in just a few minutes of what your money journey has been like, right? Like now you're an accountant, you've always liked finance and all of that, but how did we get here?
I feel like it's not what's it called? It's actually similar to the conventional story.
Yeah.
So, you know, at secondary school, I did my secondary school in Nigeria. So at secondary school, you would have like art, science, commercial class thing. At that point, I didn't actually know what I wanted to do. So I was like, you know what? I would say it's the wisdom of the Holy Spirit. Let me go through my result and see which one, even if I don't read that much, I still do well. And it was maths and business studies.
You left your future to chance.
I was like, I just need to do well. Like it's Nigeria, everyone is competitive. So I said, okay, I would look through the result and then see, okay, I don't really need to read much. I and then I'll still be able to pass. So I did maths and maths and business studies, because we're not doing economics at that point.
Yeah.
Then I went into commercial class. It was the best decision. I found out that was actually the best decision I ever made. There was no way I'm going into science class. I'm not a sciencey person, no. And there's no way there's nothing I want to do in art class. Like, law is not I don't have interest in that. But then when we were doing accounting and like economics, it was so interesting. Like, I could see it in my head. So that is like where it all started. Then I came here for sixth form, did economics, maths, EPQ. Sociology was just like, I needed a subject that was essay based, and I realized, oh my goodness, I struggled with sociology. It's so weird. It's easy. I passed it. The teacher didn't know I was struggling because I spent more time on studying sociology than anything else, which is bizarre. So I needed to learn like the names of the people, the year they quoted, what they quoted, Marxist theory and fundamentalist theory.
I hated that thing.
Yeah.
if I catch that course.
It was so crazy.
I hated it.
I was like, it's not maths. There's nothing else in here. In discussion, obviously, like in class, I found it fun. But when it came to the exam, I'm like, wow, I have to cram all of this and read everything. But the teacher taught like, I was one of the good students, like the best student in our class. I'm like, I'm struggling, but you just don't know. So yeah, I did this once and took a gap year to see if I wanted to do accounting generally. So in that gap year, I worked as an accounting assistant. Just wanted to find out, okay, what exactly is in the world of accounting.
You did that gap year in the UK?
Yeah, okay. In the UK. So, and that's the thing, it's important that if you're looking for something, like, speak to someone. How did I get the, like, gap year work? I was at church and I said to our teens church pastor that, oh yeah, I'm taking a gap year. Is there someone that you know that works in accounting that could help with that? Works in accounting or owns a business that I could work under. I'm happy to work there for free, as long as they pay for the transport to get there. And like the next week, it told me, oh yeah, there's this person in one of the deacons at church that owns an accounting firm and is happy to kind of walk me through the process. So I worked for him for like a year. While I was there, he decided to like start paying me. I saved up for my provisions for uni like while I was there, so I didn't have to kind of like do any extra things. So I would go early in the morning. I would rather really early, so I'll get there for like 6, 7. By 3, like I'm done, and then get back home, that type of thing. So during that period, I changed my course like multiple times because I already had an offer from the uni I wanted to go, and because I had like good grades, I could change depending on which ones I wanted to do. So I went from economics and maths to accounting and economics, and then finally settled to accounting and financial management. Why I changed all of those, I don't know, until I actually started with accounting and financial management, went through all the change, then came back to accounting and financial management because I was checking for how many exemptions would I get if I were to do the professional qualification for CIMA, for ACCA, and for ICAEW. So these were the ones that I used to decide whether or not I would go to accounting and finance. I feel like I'm getting a long story, but cutting the long story short, how did I get into like the current position that I'm in? It was during my gap year. I feel like that was necessary for me. I didn't know anything about investment banking. Like my mind was more big for accounting firm, like KPMG, EY, Deloitte. Like that is where my mind was. I didn't actually know there was an investment bank out there. Until the person I was working with said, oh yeah, I have a friend that works in investment banking, and do you want to have a chat? After I had a chat with this lady, like she became my mentor, and I was in awe. Like from then I started putting my cover letter together. So weird. I started putting my cover letter together before starting uni. I connected with people on LinkedIn, after I read this book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie on how to like communicate with new people. That really helped. Got a lot of response back when I sent them a message.
Really?
I'm not kidding. I was really
in your
shocked.
gap year. You were young.
It was in my gap year. So, and then like I implemented that because I needed their assistance in the next 2 years. I started fostering the relationship. So I would send them a message on LinkedIn, check up after a few period, like, oh, this is what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. And then when it was time for me to utilize this LinkedIn connections that I've had, I went online, did like my CV cover letter. I was part of the SEO London. I was part of Bright Network, and I was also part of, there's another affinity network I was part of, and I leveraged every one of them. Every time they have like an event going on, I would go there with my CV and my cover letter that I've written, and then they'll correct it. So a lot of people corrected that CV and cover letter before application opened. And then I sent it to the people that I connected with online, specifically for the divisions that I wanted. Visited the company in advance by like one of the VP in that company was like, oh yeah, do you want to come over and see how the company is? I was like, yeah, this is where I want to be. Yeah.
So when you see it, you're just like, okay.
Yeah. And that was, my interview day was not my first time being in the company because someone already brought me in as a visitor to see like, oh, this is the company that you've been talking about, that type of thing. And that led me to kind of apply. I've gone through the whole different people reviewing my CV cover letter, and then I applied to 2 divisions because you're allowed to apply to 3. Advised not to apply to 3, apply to 2. So I applied to 2 divisions, closely related divisions. For one of them, it was my second choice. I got an interview from that one first. So I was able to go in person for that interview. At the end, I had the feeling there's no way they're calling me back. And I learned from that one and got another interview, also from the same company, but the second division, my first choice. So learning from that, I implemented it in this interview. So instead of having 3 interviews, it was actually really straightforward. I only had 2 people interview me. And yeah, I got the offer from just those 2 people interviewing. Then after I did my placement, then did a summer internship at a competing company just to see what is in both of them. Got a return offer from both of them, and then like by the leading of God, chose one, which is the one I'm currently at. So yeah, that is my journey to like where I am right now within finance and the whole. I've always been on that finance track, not branched out anywhere else, because I know that this is like where I'm meant to be. Sometimes the way the Lord speaks to you is through interest, desire towards something. So I didn't have interest in other things. It's more on like money side. Yeah, it's all about the money.
So do you think that you were that kind of, I've heard you just sort of bring it in and just be like, oh, I used this during my gap year. I saved up. Were you always that type of child who they give you money, you saved
because I had something in mind. I knew like I was going to uni. And I didn't want my mom to spend a lot getting everything that I needed. Like I got my laptop myself. I got the cooking pots and pans and everything, like with the money from that gap year money. So when I get paid, I would just have like my transport. Everything else, I would give it to my mom to keep it for me for like when I'm about to buy my things for uni. So she didn't really spend much because I used my placement money to buy the things I needed for uni. So when government finance came, it was just for the rent, for the accommodation that I used it for, and then like my upkeep through the process. So yeah, it was more, once I have a goal in mind, it's all about having a goal. So once I have that goal in mind, I need to do something, then it's easy for me to put money aside because I can see where the money is going.
Yes.
Compared to if I'm just putting it aside without any goal, I can go back and just go pick it up. But if I have a goal in mind, for example, if you want to buy a house, you have a goal that, oh yeah, this is the amount I want to save to buy this house. It's easy for you to put the money down because you can see.
True.
But if you don't have any goal, like it's easy for you to just put the money there, pick it back, because you're like, yeah, there's next month. It's always that idea of like, there's next month, and then I'll put it back.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're not going to do that. You still keep saying the same story over the like course of the month.
Whew. I think when you were speaking, the thing that sort of captured all you said just through your journey is, I know we're talking about money, but it made me realize that conversations about money start with conversations about mindset.
Yeah,
first.
definitely.
Like, even when you're not earning big, who were you when you were not earning at all? Right? I think the Bible says something like, he that is faithful in little
Be faithful
is
in
faithful in much.
Yeah.
Right? Do not despise the day of small beginnings, because the Lord rejoices to see the work begin. So before you even sort of like start seeing a lot of the big things come through, this was who you were. There was government financing, but you were already thinking, this is how I'm going to spend my money. I have something that I'm working towards, right? And something else that I've been hearing a lot lately, and we were having a conversation about midweek service and how it was just so pivotal to this, is when you want to build a house, that scripture that talks about laying a foundation, right? The foundation of money will always be mindset, right? So what is your mindset towards money, about money? How you want to spend money. In terms of legacy, we've spoken about health, spoken about relationships. I love that you brought that on, that you had already started fostering relationships. So conversations about money are not just conversations about cash, spending and earning. They're about your health. They're about your relationships. Wealth, I think there's a book that talks about the 7 types of wealth. And you spoke about it one time to me, right? And it makes me want us to now, first of all, identify some of these limiting mindsets for people, and then go into the practical of how they can break this. So what are 2 or 3 common limiting mindsets about money or finance that people have? And you can weave in maybe personal examples.
Yeah, I would say, I think I already spoke about one before. It's one of the limiting mindsets is like, oh, you're reducing what you have in your pocket now. So you're not thinking about the future of, oh yeah, the money that I have is still your money. You're just keeping it for the future. So what you're looking at is, what do I have now? That is like, that immediate gratification is a limiting mindset that you might have about money. I need the money now. I want to see it in my account and say, yes, I can see how many zeros in there. Not knowing that you just taking the money aside and just having the little that you need to spend for that period is like what would help you budget properly.
Yeah.
So I would say personally, because I know that if it's in my card, that Apple Pay thing, that is a money sucking machine. Because all you need to do is double tap and then just do and I know that if I want to do something, I'm like, oh yeah, how much is it? Then I just go like that.
Yeah.
If it says it's not there, it's not there. So what I do is, at the start, when I get paid, everything goes out. So I set all my direct debit to be the first day of the month. So depending on when they pay, it will still end up being the first day of the month. So everything goes out before then, like for investment, for like money box, every other thing, given to family, that type of thing. And then what is left, and then I decide, okay, am I able to top up other things, other investment that I have, and would this be just sufficient? Is there anything else that I need to get from, let's say, clothing or like supplements or that type of thing? So I would say that idea that money going out is like a negative, without thinking going out towards what. So it's going out towards like the future investment, pensions, investment in housing and stuff like that, is one mindset I would want people to kind of change on. Because the money is leaving doesn't mean it's not still for you. It's just for you being saved for the future.
Later on.
That is one aspect.
Delayed gratification.
Then the other one would be the mindset about investing. The fact that your money is going down, the investment is going down. doesn't mean you're necessarily like losing money. And one thing PP, our pastor, did mention was the fact that when the money is going down, people kind of have this fear and they go into the market and sell.
Yeah.
The market will keep dipping because you're selling. Like, supply demand.
Yeah.
There's more supply because you're selling back to the market, and because of that, what happens? The price of the share continues to drop.
Yeah.
So everyone is in panic, and things it's like in a perfect environment, people react to information. So when there's an information out there, so Liberation Day, for example, with the Trump thing, like the market reacted, and the whole S&P 500 was going down. Like, it was really, really bad. But then I know like a colleague at work that said, oh, wow, this is a nice idea to buy.
Yeah.
Because the price has gone down.
Yeah.
And he entered the market at the dip. But how do you know when the dip is the dip of the dippers? Like, you never know.
Yeah.
You cannot continue to buy. So I would say, in that situation, don't panic. Rather, set a structure of a direct debit. Regardless of what happens in the market, just keep buying. So every month, you are still going to get that direct debit that would buy anyways. So last month, if the price was 100, you bought, it's a direct debit. Next month, the price is like now, let's say 80. You still buy at 80. What happens is you average out.
Yeah.
You average out your loss. You average out your gain. So you still end up gaining over time. So you're not just buying once and just leaving it there. You're making it like an habit by just setting a structure, which is a direct debit that you have into that investment pot. And like that, you're able to manage your investment in the future. So I would say one habit about money would be that investing can be like risky because the market is going down. Because the market is going down doesn't necessarily mean you should come out of the market. It's S&P 500. There's a lot of companies in there. If one company is not doing well, it will drop out and another one is going to come in. So you're not getting affected. You're diversifying your portfolio. And even in the Bible, you're told to diversify. Ecclesiastes, like to diversify the person that invests in multiple things. So I would say that is one aspect. So those two.
I love that. I love the fact that you said just because the market is going down doesn't mean your money is going down as well. I remember I started investing more actively in the last couple of years, and the stock market has taken a tank. Like, I opened the app and I'm like,
just close it back.
This is not what I invested. But I opened it up a week ago and I noticed that
you see the green.
Okay,
before you see the red.
Yeah, you see the red. And I was like, because I was tempted to just withdraw the money at that time. But I think you or maybe someone else just told me, keep having a certain amount, right? And that's what I've done. I have a certain amount that goes out every month. And I literally saw that it was more. Like, it was more than I've invested. I was so happy.
We're still like at the start. Do you know, like, if you continue, even if it's £100 every month, if you continue this into like 50 years, it's a lot of money that is going in there, and you're not feeling, because the way you have subscription for Netflix, you don't feel when your Netflix subscription is deducted, because now your mind, at the start you're like, oh my goodness, now your mind is used to it, as to you've created that pattern that is going to go anyways. So create the same pattern with like investment, saying, oh I can invest £100. We can talk about where or what to use later, especially for new investors. I can invest £100 every month, and it will add up to something. 50 years, every month, £100. The market is growing. It's not stagnant.
It's
like,
that's going to be something.
Imagine, like, it's what you would see in return is beyond your imagination, because you would have bought dips, highs, average, and you average it at the end. So
true. It's such a good mindset to have. And I like that we've touched on sort of practical sort of mindsets that people have. One of the things I really wanted us to talk on here, I like the fact that we've brought on scriptures, right, even with the practical steps. People who feel God doesn't care about finances can we address that? There are two extremes, right? There are people who feel like God doesn't care about it at all, right? Like, I don't need to have money. They essentially equate faith with poverty, right? Blessed are the poor in spirit, for they shall. So we have those misinterpretations, but then we have the people who feel like God doesn't care about money, so they can do anything
with the money, or anything to get money.
Yeah. How do we balance that out?
I would say, like, everything that we have is created by God. It's given by God. You can't say the creator doesn't care about its creation. Like, he created that ability. Even when the curse upon Adam, like, it would work to get something. Like, but even when he's planting to get a result, the result you're getting is your money. When you work, you get something back in return. So I would say, like, if we were to start with that blessed are the poor in the spirit misconception, this is more of like comparing. Being poor doesn't necessarily mean finances. You can be poor in knowledge because you don't have sufficient knowledge. Having like insufficiency in something is poor. So poor in the spirit is you're lacking in that aspect, not money poor. Nowhere in the Bible was like, blessed are the poor in finances. Poor in, it's what substantiates that poor is the sentence that comes after. So spiritual poverty means like you're not spending time growing yourself in the spirit. So don't bring that misconception on the idea of like poverty then automatically goes to finance. No, there is poor in wisdom, poor in sight. If someone says poor sight, like poor in revelation, that type of thing, like it doesn't necessarily mean money. So in that aspect, the Lord has given us the resources. Like when the Lord says, go ahead, be fruitful, multiply, like subdue the hurt, like is giving you the resources on the earth. So it's a gradual revelation, and the Bible already says a man that does not work should not eat, which means the Lord expects you to work and the reward for your labor. And that is what justifies that, okay, now you can use those resources for, let's say, maintaining yourself. So that aspect of, only it takes, you know that scripture, it's easier for a poor man it's easier for a poor man to get into the kingdom than for a rich man. So it's the same thing.
Okay, to enter the eye of the needle.
To enter the eye of the needle.
It's come out,
so it's not talking about rich in finances or poor. It's more the idea of like, okay, what we tend to see as wealth and like people that are wealthy is like pride that comes with it. It's, oh yeah, you're not ready, you're so pompous, you're rich in knowledge to the point that like if someone brings something new to you, you're like, I've heard it all, like there's nothing new you can give to me that I'm ready to listen. So you're trying to paint a picture on, okay, you're so flamboyant, you feel like you have everything, that any new information that's brought to you is like, yeah, I don't need it. So, and we have a lot of people that have that perspective that, oh yeah, maybe it's the money, but then they are actually the people that's been talked about, because they're like, oh yeah, I know everything about the scripture, you can't tell me anything. But then in they misconstrued that information, and now they're thinking, yeah, in my finances, I don't want to have a lot of money, but then I have a lot of knowledge, don't give me anything. But you can see the hypocrisy, like it doesn't make sense. So that is one side. And then that is there are like two extremes, having little and thinking because you're poor, then like you're going to go to heaven. It's not about rich or poor. Like there's only one way to heaven, and the Lord has already said. Even Paul was like confirming it when he was writing to either the Gentiles, the people at Colossae, Ephesus, and he was talking about the fact that it's by grace that we are saved through faith, not of works. It's a gift of God. It's a gift, lest anyone should boast. So nobody can boast about salvation, because you're not saved by your works. You're saved by grace. You're not saved because you're obedient. You're saved to be obedient. So you're not saved because of your money. You use your money. It's like there's some things that it's just the resources that you have on earth. It's like a result, because one thing to show that you're indeed saved is you take it. See that a man diligent in his work. He will stand before kings and not before ordinary men. Whatever your hands cease to do, do it and do it well. Excellence is a significant factor of saying, oh, I am saved, I need to represent Christ well. And by representing Christ well, the result of that is resources come to you because you're standing as a proper representative of Christ. So wherever you find yourself, do what you need to do and do it well. Not out of, you can't say, I'm a Christian, I'm not going to do the work, and then you expect money to come your way, because there's also that misunderstanding where people pray for money and they are not doing anything.
Yes, you just want to manifest it.
Yeah, you don't. It doesn't come out of nowhere. There's a principle that works on earth, regardless of if you're a Christian or if you're not a Christian. A man that does not work must not eat. It didn't say a Christian that does not work, or an unbeliever that does not work must not eat. It's a principle. There are principles that work regardless of whether you're a Christian or not, and it's been placed on this earth. And regardless of what you do, you need to abide by the principle. You work hard. I know there are like outliers out there. There are situations where meritocracy might not work, but regardless, that's where we now have grace. We have favor. So when we're praying for grace, grace is not that you've not prepared and then an opportunity comes up and then you're thinking you'll be able to leverage that opportunity when you've not prepared for that opportunity. So it's the same thing. Oh, am I doing courses? So there are people out there doing exams. It's not because they have a career now that the exam is needed for. It's because something might come up in the future. You're in your chronos. What if a kairos moment comes up? Do you have enough stored in your bank? It might be finances, it might be knowledge, it might be an experience, so that when the kairos moment shows up, you don't go around saying, oh, I don't have the skill, oh, I don't have the qualification, oh, I don't have the money. Because there are moments where, like, if the government comes up with an initiative and says, oh yeah, for young first-time buyers, we want to, because anything can happen in this UK, for young first-time buyers, we want to discount the housing, bring in just 5% deposit. Okay, they currently do 5%. Bring in 10% deposit and we'll double that 10% deposit for you. Do you have that 10% in the bank somewhere? And then, like, that is favor coming in. Then if you don't have it, you're thinking, oh yeah, but it was not for me. Then you start bringing situations of like, oh yeah, it's because they think black people cannot do this. You have a complex. Or you have this kind of idea that, oh yeah, it's the devil is doing something or this. It's just that you were not prepared for it. So
stop blaming the devil for some things. It's you.
Exactly. That's what means you. You're giving honor to the devil. You're praising him.
And the devil is looking at you. Like, that's not me.
You rate me so much.
That's not me right there.
So I'd say, like, do you have something stored up in the bank? Like, if this opportunity comes up and you're not able to do the things that you need to do, it's not God that is holding your hand. As Pastor Oyedepo will say, God has given you wisdom. He's giving you sense so that you don't disturb him. So that common sense is now, when opportunity comes, am I saving? Am I looking towards kingdom stewardship, where you're using your resources for the kingdom? Using your resources for the kingdom could be, I have a house. My house, now I don't have a landlord that will say everybody should be quiet, shut up. Everybody can come and pray in my house. We can have, like, if someone is coming from Nigeria for the first time, and let's say I'm not in Nigeria, okay, can my house be used as, okay, you can stay here for a while until you find the time to settle down? Now, you won't be able to do that if you don't have it.
Those things.
So if, for example, a special guest is coming and you have a house that is aesthetically pleasing, that they don't need to go to a hotel, like, you're saving money for, like, the church, so they can use the place and you're not there. Like, let's say you're somewhere else, I'm not going to allow you to just sit there. Oh, when someone is coming, we have a guest minister. Oh, we can use this place. Oh, the car is also available. We can use that and just save. All we need to do is fuel the car. When it's time for women's fellowship, we can come together and we don't have to start looking for places or start paying for Airbnb because we know that your place is available. So your resources from, like, it's not just money this time around. You've done something that can be used for the kingdom.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to think beyond, how can my resource, why are you praying to God for certain things?
Yeah.
You come with your reasons. You come, even when Jesus was praying in John, if you look at the structure of the prayer, everything, it was coming with justification on why. It says why it should bless because these are the people you've given to me.
Yeah.
Why you should bless the disciple? Because you gave them to me. So those type of things, why do you need all these things that you're talking about? Because you need it for the kingdom. But are you a good kingdom steward that you would honor and use the resources well that the Lord has given to you? So, and for the Lord to give it to you, you must trust that you have the wisdom, you have the capacity to use that resources in the right way. Even the disciples, none of the disciples are lazy. They were doing something for the Lord to use them. So you can't use that as a justification for having too little. And having too much brings him, if you're just saying, oh, the Lord doesn't care about my money, how do you think you're able to, he's giving you wisdom to get wealth. How do you think you're able to get the wealth? And okay, you're saying, oh, he's my God. The least you could do is put the most money where the money came from. Yeah. It's not even asking. That 10% was in the days of Moses just for playing ground. Yeah. As much, you can do more when you have the capacity to do more. Yeah. It's more, honestly, where your money goes to shows the desires of your heart. You can't come here and say, yeah, it's my God, and then your money doesn't go towards his things. Yeah. So having in abundance, how do you spend it shows a reflection of your heart. Yeah, yeah. So yeah,
I love that. On the ones who think that money, God doesn't care about money, they have to come to a point that while the gospel is free, we don't work for it. It takes a lot to share that gospel, and your resources can be used to actually further that. That's so important. But I also like the fact that you said even for those who have much, God wants you to be a good steward of it. Right? You have to first of all recognize that he is your source, that everything you have received, you cannot claim that you have offered yourself as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, but God cannot touch your resources or touch your money. It doesn't.
I've offered this, not that.
But don't touch this one. It's giving my money. It's not your money.
This is where we disagree.
This is where we disagree. So I think that's such an important perspective to have, and one of the best perspectives to have. And we're just going to wrap up on this note. One of the goals of having these types of conversations is to expand people's mindsets. So for someone who has legacy in mind, for someone who knows that my money is for the kingdom, my money is for generations, my money is for better, right? And maybe they are stuck in a bad cycle at this point. What are the three most important things they should know for someone who is struggling?
Yeah, I would say in that aspect, I'll just do, it's more, identify what is your net position at the moment. So do you have a debt? Student finance in the UK, I would strip that out. I'm looking at, do you have a credit card? Do you have a car debt that you need to sort out? Have you set up a direct debit for that? And what do you have in investment? What's your net position?
Where are you? If you are zero, let's know. If you are at minus zero, let's know.
And then if you're in the positive, let's know. Yeah. So I would say identify your debt, bad debt, and bad debt in finance is different, but you understand what I mean by debt that is a credit card that you don't actually get from, if that makes sense. You don't get any return from, and then you identify your investment. So what do you currently have? Because there's a possibility that you might not be investing at all. Then the other aspect is identify what comes in, what goes out. So I would say do a quick audit of your financial statement. So at the end of the year, what I tend to do is I go through it's such a long process. So I download my bank statement for the year, but you can download it in Excel and do a pivot on what your large percentage of your money is going to. And then I think it was from there that I was like, no, I need to change my contract with like my contract provider for my phone, because I was like, okay, I can see another contract provider providing much better. So you can see, like, because you're a dedicated like a dedicated customer, you don't shop around, you just stick with the one that you already have. So I had to call them, like, when is my contract ending? I would like to cancel my contract and transfer somewhere else. And when you call them, then they start giving you better options. So that is one side. Then any direct debit I have, like, I'm not saying, oh yeah, go cancel Netflix, cancel this, cancel that. I saw the Netflix and I was like, okay, what other deals are there? I was paying £11. I saw that there was like a £5 one, and I'm like, okay, I could just, it's with advertisement, but I'm like, yeah, YouTube already has advertisement. You've already programmed me to be used to advertisement. So I would just go with the £5 one rather than going with like £11. I had Amazon Prime, I cancelled that. Like, those things were like, oh, do I need it? Like, I can, if I order something, I don't actually need it for the next day. Allow me to, you're building me for immediate gratification. I'll wait. Like, if I need something that urgently, I'll go out and go get it. So I cancelled the Amazon Prime, like, shenanigan. And then I went through it to see, okay, my insurance for my car, is there like a better one once the contract is over? So I tend to have like 1 year insurance for cars, and over the year, like, it actually did reduce. So I only pay about £100 per month for like insurance. So that's why, like, when we're coming, I did mention insurance is getting lower. So it's more, okay, next year when I'm shopping around, can I get even lower for my insurance? So you can see, like, there's a lot of things, like, every pound counts. So if you don't go through and do an audit of your statement, then, like, it's not worth it. So it's something that I'm like, okay, can I do this for my friends also? But it's, are you comfortable with me seeing your finances?
You will do it for me. You have done it for me, and you will do it for me. I'm booking space in advance.
No, it's more like the level of comfort, because I'm not going to come in and start judging, like, because it's finance, you're just part of, like, it's money, like, whatever it is, to make sure that in the future it's not repeated again, then we can do something about it. So it's me going through that statement, and then after that, I then list out the things that I need to kind of reduce and things I need to change, and then start taking, instead of saying tomorrow I'll take step, if it's in the afternoon, I stop and then call them and ask, oh yeah, could you do this? And for one of them, they were like, oh no, your contract ends next year. So immediately the contract ends, I remember, because it was like, oh, Jamila Raje. I called them and I was like, this one. I was like, please, can you get me? I feel like the guy that was on the call was like, please, what's going on here? I was monitoring every single thing. And then the other thing I would say is monitor your credit score. I monitor my credit score as though, like, I'm winning the lottery, because I'm like, okay, so what happened here? Like, why did it go down? So I use Experian. So if it goes down, I call Experian and then I ask them that, why? What happened here? And registering with your electoral college actually is like 50-something points. If you don't do that, there's no way you're getting into higher 800s. So like, you call them and it's 800 and something. That's the highest, like, in like the high zone for your credit score. So monitoring that is the other thing. So I've mentioned going through your assets, your liabilities, expenses and income. Then the other part is now going through assessing your statements. This is all preamble. This is like the base point. That is the start. Checking your credit to see, because you have a goal in mind, because I'm about to set another foundation on top of that. The reason why I wanted you to check your credit, they're free credit checking agency. Check your credit, because it will, if you're saying you want to buy a house and then someone has used your name somewhere to do something, it's going to affect your credit. So you need to check and then call and see what is happening, because there's a lot of identity theft out there. And you might think you have a good credit score, and then who knows if like a sister or like family member somewhere got your details and they're using your credit card for like your name is on that credit card that you don't even know about. So I would say check that. And now that you've laid the foundation, it's now time for you to now start deciding, okay, what's my future goal? What do I want to start investing in? Everyone's goal is to own their own place one day. I would say like generally have a lifetime ISA if you're in the UK. That is important. There's a lot of free money, even if it's little that you're putting, the government is putting something. There's a lot of free money going on out there that you can't afford to miss. That, but the money has to be used for
the first home
or retirement.
Yeah.
So I would say build a lifetime ISA. You have a lifetime ISA, check the ratings for different companies. So I use Moneybox for savings ISA is like 4.something% return. I need something stable. I don't want it to go down. I want it to just gradually go up because I need it fixed. And if your plan is I need to get a place like early, you can still use the lifetime ISA and then include like a cash ISA because you still get a return, but it will not go down. It will just like the interest could go down based on the base rate with the Bank of England, but currently is about 4%. It depends also by provider, because Trading 212 also offers about 4%. Marcus also offers about 4%, and Chase would be about 4%. So I would say look at 4% range for cash ISA. Then you want to go into investment now. If you're new to investment or you're someone that you don't have time to be monitoring all the investment, I'll say go for a managed investment. So a managed account is, let's use Vanguard, which is like an investment company that helps you manage your investment. Vanguard goes, you have a direct debit, and Vanguard will now assist you in splitting. They'll look at your risk portfolio and then allocate that money every month to the investments that they believe like is doing well, and then adjust based on what is going to happen, what is happening at the moment, because you don't have time to do it yourself. Instead of you picking just one and saying, oh yeah, I'll do S&P 500, Vanguard will look at sustainability, look at emerging market, and then allocate your fund. So I use a managed account rather than going in there and like checking and monitoring every time. You pay a fee on managed account, but it's still worth it than me trying to decide. You guys are expert, so do it on my behalf. Then I would say if you want to go risky, you could have a friend that does it's like a crypto, but there are specific ones, but I don't invest in crypto. So if you want to go extreme, but you're not putting everything in crypto,
what you can lose,
and you know that I'm willing to see how the market does, so I would say crypto. And I think that should be those should be like the advice.
So identify where you're at now, right, and then
where you want to be,
your goal, and then invest. Now savings can also be a part of investment, so you can have a high yield savings account or a managed account and all of that. Amazing. Don't say we didn't do anything for you. This is not financial advice, it's free advice.
Disclaimer, this is
not financial advice. Thank you so much. I think we've had a rich conversation. Like I said during the conversations around money are first around conversations around the mind. What's first your mindset? So one of the things you want to do is first of all expand your mindset about money, and then you can now start having financial goals. You can start knowing, okay, I'm making these mistakes. These are the things that I want to actually end with me. But I think one of the things that I've really picked, the two things that I've picked from this, one, money is a tool. Right? It shouldn't guide your life. Rather, you should channel it towards the things that you really care about. That's the first thing. Number two, God wants you to steward your money well. So learn, build, and give to to others, and give to the purposes that truly count for God and also for you as well. So thank you. Those are the things that I've picked up. Thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
And for the nuggets, free is not financial advice, but just if you people are not rich after this episode, all of you should come and pay like 10% to me for every amount that you make.
10%
Tithe, yes. So thank you so much, Nancy. It's been great having you here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And looking forward to the next episode. See you guys soon. Thank you.